Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and for today we will be featuring another succulent coming from the Crassulaceae family, which is the Sedum Rubrotinctum, or also known as the jelly beans, and some people call this plant as the pork and beans. This kind of succulent requires little care, so it's perfect for people na busy sa work and they don't have time to check on their succulents from time to time. Yung ating mga jelly beans, characterize siya as having these plump green leaves, and when we expose it to full sun, yung kanyang tips ay nagkakaroon siya ng red tips, so that's a sign of a minor stress. Although we need to be extra careful with sun exposure kasi too much sun exposure could actually not just give them stress but also sunburn. Sobrang dali lang lumaki ng ating mga jelly beans, and they can easily cover yung ground if nakalagay sila sa ating mga gardens, and at the same time our jelly beans can grow well in containers like this. So perfect rin siya for indoors, although if ilalagay natin siya sa indoor, yung color niya would not be as colorful as this. We have two variations for our jelly beans. We have ito nga yung pinakauna, and we also have the Aurora or the pink jelly beans. Although with regards to taking good care of them, there is no difference between the two varieties. With regards to light and temperature, our jelly beans can tolerate full sun to partial shade, and the more sun exposure na matatanggap nila, the deeper yung color ng kanilang leaves. And we have here an example. Ito yung kanyang leaves. It's originally green, but because of sun exposure, nagkakaroon siya ng stress or minor stress. That's why nagkakaroon siya ng kanyang red tips. And nagsisimula pala siyang mas stress. Although makikita mo na yung big difference, it really looks good. Yung contrast ng green and red, diba? If you are planning to put our jelly beans indoors, pwede yan. But we have to put it sa east-facing window, and we should not expect na yung kanyang color will be like this. Maybe it will be more on the green side, like for example this. But even if na ilagay natin siya indoors, still having this green color is also good enough, diba? So maganda rin namang tignan even if green yung kanyang color. With regards to water and humidity, our jelly beans needs the soak and dry method. So when we say soak and dry method, it is where we try to check muna yung kanyang soil. We need to make sure na yung soil niya is completely dry, kasi if you just keep on watering yung ating mga succulents, that's gonna be the main cause of their death. With regards sa watering na aking mga succulents, I usually do it once a week to make sure na completely dry na yung kanilang soil. And I also check, ito nga, my favorite container sa lahat, yung ating recycled pots, wherein I can easily check kung completely dry na yung ating succulents. Kasi sometimes the problem is dry na siya sa top layer, but we don't know exactly kung completely dry na ba yung sa ilalim. I will be showing to you kung paano ba ginagawa yung ating soak and dry method. So let's just pretend na hindi pa siya nadidiligan and yung kanyang soil is completely dry. I collect rainwater, and yan, isusok lang natin siya completely until mag-drain yung soil. Ayan. So, make sure na you are using a well-draining soil. Ayan. So, watering it once is not enough. So, after niyang masok sa tubig, we will do it again. So, this is the second time na. Ayan. So, second time. Ayan, so mapapansin nyo may tubig pa doon. So pag nag-completely na nag-drain na siya, we will soak it again for the third time. Ayan, so that's how are we gonna do the soak and dry method of watering sa ating mga succulents. But if for example your jelly beans is completely dehydrated, we can make use of the bottom watering, and that's it. So when we say bottom watering, we have water here, and you're just gonna let your succulent sit sa ating container na may tubig for 24 hours or 2 days, depende kung gaano ka-dehydrated yung ating succulent. We need to give our jelly beans a good air circulation, especially during the hot summer days. While our jelly beans is tolerant kahit anong gamitin ninyong soil mix sa kanya, as long as it is well draining. You can make your own soil mix, or you can also buy yung mga branded or yung mga pre-made na soil mix available online. But for me, I'm just using compost and black soil. And in fact, kung mapapansin niyo nga dito sa ating soil, I didn't even add pumice. Next, we will be discussing about the fertilizer needs ng ating jelly beans. They don't really require fertilizers, but it could be helpful for them. And for optimum benefits, we need to make use of a high quality succulent fertilizer. And I'm using Osmocote fertilizer for my succulent. Yeah, so this is my mother plant. Nagsimula lang siya siguro before, may ano lang siya, 5 or 6, ganito. Parang may 5 or 6 stems lang siya in the middle. But right now, kung mapapansin niyo, ang dami niya ng offsets kung saan na siya tumubo. And in fact, ayan, these are all cuttings from the mother plant. So ito, before it's only 3 small stems. Siguro ganito lang siya kaliliit dati. I have 3 stems, but right now, ganyan na yung itsura niya. We also have this. Again, 3 stems rin to coming from my mother plant. And ganyan na yung kanyang itsura. And we also have this 1 stem. Ayan. So, from 1 stem, nagkaroon na siya ng sobrang daming offsets from the bottom, and even here sa kanyang mga, even here sa center ng kanyang leaves, ang daming mini offsets. And this one is a slow release na type ng fertilizer, and I'm using it for this succulent. And I will be discussing about Osmocote fertilizer in a different video para mabigyan kayo ng detailed na explanation on how are you gonna use that one. Our jelly beans grows best with space, and all we need to do is try to remove the soil. And it's best na mag-repot tayo pag dry yung kanyang soil, kasi pag ganitong wet, it's gonna be messy and it's not really ideal for you to repot. If we will be repotting this one, it's normal na yung kanyang leaves will fall off easily, kasi that's one of the characteristic of our jelly beans. So kumbaga, konting sagi mo lang sa kanya, talagang madali siyang mahulog. So we need to be extra careful. Although, for example, nasagi natin ganyan yung ating jelly beans, it's very easy naman to propagate itong leaves, kaya hindi siya sayang. Ilagay nyo lang siya dyan. Ang ating jelly beans can cause skin irritation. That's why it's highly recommended for you to make use of gloves. And not just for jelly beans, I think for all of our succulents, if you're planning to repot any of your succulents, always make use of gloves. Let's talk about the propagation of our jelly beans. Sobrang daling i-propagate ng ating jelly beans. In fact, kahit wala kang gawin, it can propagate on its own. Most of yung new growth are because of leaf propagation. So, while transferring, while moving, natanggal yung leaves, nilagay lang natin siya dito, and yan, lumaki na siya agad. And let's try to look for a leaf na tumubo na. Although, if ang gagamitin ninyo yung method for propagation is yung leaf propagation, it will take a couple of months before it can be a mature jelly bean. And if you are looking for a faster way on how are you gonna propagate yung inyong jelly beans, you can make use of the beheading or yung stem cuttings ng ating succulents. And for that, you need to make use of pruning scissors. So we have this one, but we need to sterilize. Ayan, so this is just 70% isopropyl alcohol. We need to make sure na nasanitize natin yung ating mga tool before cutting ang ating jelly beans or succulents. So, all you need to do is remove some part muna kasi we need space. Ayan, so depende na sa inyo. You can cut here or you can cut doon. Depende sa inyo kung gaano kalaki yung stem na gagamitin ninyo. But for me, I will just behead dito sa upper part. Yeah, so first, remove natin ang ating leaves. So sobrang dali lang nating tanggalin yung kanyang leaves. So you can just twist it like that. And ayan, meron ka ng isang leaf for propagation. And tanggalin lang natin yung iba ulit. Ayan, so tinitwist ko lang siya. It's not really necessary to remove these extra leaves, but syempre we need space for cutting our jelly beans. So ayan na siya. So this one is already exposed. Ika-cut natin siya dito. And we need to make sure it's gonna be a clean cut. Minsan ng cut lang siya. So, ayan. So, ganun lang siya. Nakat na natin siya. Definitely, it will take time for this jelly bean to callus over. Usually, 3 to 5 days. After that one, pwede nyo na siyang itanim mismo sa inyong container kung saan nyo siya gustong ilagay. Yes, we also need to remove this part. Kasi yung part kung saan natin tinanggal yung leaves, doon tutubo yung mga bagong roots. So, tanggalin nyo lang ng tanggalin. And that's okay. So, at least, this is enough. So, tatayo naman na siya siguro sa ating soil pag tinanim na natin siya. I have itong leaves na to. So, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Itong 7 na to, all I need to do is ikakalat ko lang siya kung saan-saan. Same process. Ganun ang lagi kong ginagawa pag may mga leaves na natatanggal. Nilalagay ko siya dito sa gilid kasi dito sa area na to wala pa masyadong growth. Or you can simply put it in the middle. Ayan. So, after 1 month siguro or 2 months, magkakaroon na siya ng new growth. So, ganun lang siya. And that's it. That's how you're gonna propagate yung inyong mga jelly beans. So for complete guide, you can check my other videos. And lastly, we will also be talking about yung mga problems na possibly nating ma-encounter when taking good care of jelly beans. And they are fairly resistant against pests and diseases. And its growing problems are typical for succulents. And overall, these jelly beans are considered as a tough plant. And they won't really give you much trouble habang pinapalaki natin sila. Number 1 is yung ating dropping ng leaves. I have read sa mga different groups wherein some people are asking bakit daw nalalagas yung kanilang mga jelly beans. Although it's pretty normal for jelly beans to drop leaves when they are handled or pag for example nasagi ninyo, it's really normal na matanggal siya agad. However, pag madalas malagas yung leaves ng inyong jelly beans, it could be because of overwatering. Next is all about wilting. So when we say wilting, ito yung parang wrinkled na yung inyong mga leaves. And that's because of underwater naman siya. Kasi even though our succulents store water from their stems and their leaves, there is a point in time wherein talagang if wala na silang source of water, ang mangyayari is they will get wrinkled and they would eventually die if ignored na hindi sila madiligan. So the best thing that we need to do is just water our jelly beans. Next is ethiollation. Gaps in between each leaf and nag-elongate na siya, very thin ang kanyang stems. And in order for us to correct these ethiollated jelly beans, we just need to expose it sa area kung saan makakatanggap siya ng sun exposure. Although we need to expose it gradually to prevent sunburns. Number 4 is we have yung pest ng ating jelly beans. So, they don't really attract pests. Unlike sa mga, for example, yung mga echeverias, they really attract yung mga mealybugs, mga ganyan. But for this jelly beans, I don't really have any problem with them in general. Number 5, with regards to diseases ng ating jelly beans, they are very susceptible sa root and stem rot. This is because of too much moisture in the soil or on the leaves because of overwatering again. And because nga of overwatering, rot can easily make the plant vulnerable sa fungal diseases and bacteria from within. And if this happens, again, the problem would be because of overwatering. In any case na talagang nag-rot na yung kanyang stem and ang kanyang roots, the only way for us to save it is to remove yung inyong succulent from the soil itself. And lastly, but also one of the most important thing that you need to know, poisonous ba ang ating jelly beans? The answer is yes. Not only na poisonous sila sa humans and pets, but they can also irritate our skin. That's why I'm wearing gloves. And if you have pets or children around you, I think these succulent is not the perfect na plant for you. That's all for our jelly beans care guide. If you have more questions, you can just send me a message or you can just comment it down below. For more care tips, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You may also visit and follow our Facebook page at Desert Succulent PH kasi doon natin pinopost yung mga succulents natin na for sale just in case you want to buy succulents from us.